Hey, folks, it's Book Talk with Corbin, and I'm your host. And today we have, well, every time we do a show, we have a great guest. A guest is going to give us some good information, a solid perspective on things. But this guest in particular is really going to, bottom line, shake your boots, guys. Listen carefully to everything she says. Make sure that you take some notes and share this interview with many others. Trust me on this. Do that. Her name is Brigitte Gabriel. She's a Lebanese American, New York Times bestselling author, and founder of Act for America. She's a powerful and much sought after commentator on politics, culture, and national security issues. And she's the author of a book that I have right here in front of me, guys. It's called Because They Hate. A survivor of Islamic terror warns Americans. My sister, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much, Corbin. I'm delighted and honored to be with you.
And I know there's so much we could talk about. Um, we don't have much time, but let me just start off by asking you a little bit about your background. When people read the book, Because They Hate, they'll get that. But could you just give us a real short synopsis about your background, how you came to the United States and all?
Well, I was born and raised in Lebanon, which used to be the only majority Christian country in the Middle East. Most people don't know that. Lebanon is a republic like the United States. Big contrast in the middle of a sea of Arabic dictators where you can identify each country by one man or one royal family. In Lebanon, we were open minded, we were fair, we were tolerant, we were multicultural, we prided ourselves on our multiculturalism. We had open border policy, we welcomed everyone into our country. Because we wanted to share with them the westernization which we had created in the heart of the Middle East. Unfortunately, a lot of people started coming into the country that did not share our values or respect for democracy and freedom. My 9/11 happened to me in 1975 when radical Islamists blew up my home, bringing it down, burying me under the rubble, wounded.
Mm.
I ended up in a hospital for 2.5 months, going from one surgery to another. And I would ask my father, why did they do this to us? And my father would tell me, because we are Christians, they consider us infidels and they want to kill us. So I learned since I was a 10-year-old little girl that I am wanted dead simply because I was born into the Christian faith and lived in a Christian town.
Mm.
Um, we ended up, I ended up leaving the hospital and coming back home, but my home was no longer the home I left. I ended up living underground in an 8 by 10 room without electricity, without water, and very little food. And that's where I lived for the next 7 years of my life, from the age of 10 till the age of 17, robbed of my youth. I remember crawling under bombs to dig out grass, dig out dandelions to eat because it was the only greenery we had to eat. I remember crawling under snipers' bullets in a ditch to a nearby spring to get some water, because the terrorists cut off all water supply and all food supply to our town. And I remember saying my mother and I would leave my dad in the bomb shelter because it was only the three of us living in the bomb shelter. I'm an only child. And we would say our last goodbyes
Mm.
every time before we left the bomb shelter just to get a drink of water, Corbin. The water that we in America gulp and we're walking around with our bottled water and we take for granted. I had to pray and say my last goodbyes every time I left my bomb shelter to get a drink of water from a nearby spring.
Mm.
This became my life. I remember at the age of 13, wearing my burial clothes, dressing up in my Sunday best, because a friend of ours stopped by and he said, Brigitte, I just want you to know that we may not make it tonight. We're going to be attacked. We heard a lot of chatter on the radio. And he said, if I don't see you tomorrow, I wish you a merciful death. And he gave me
Mm.
a hug and he left. And Corbin, I remember putting on my Easter dress, my Sunday best, because I wanted to look pretty when I am dead, because I knew that when they come to slaughter me, there would be no one to bury me. And I remember sobbing, begging my mother, I don't want to die. I'm only 13 years old. Please do something. I don't want to die. And there was nothing my mother could say to me. And I remember sitting in the corner of our bomb shelter, and my mother, my father, and I. And my father opened up the Bible and started reading from Psalms. I shall walk into the valley of death and fear no evil, for thou art with me. And my parents said to me, when they come to slaughter us tonight, we'll create a distraction. You're a young child. We're old people. You're only child. We create a distraction, and you just run towards the Israeli border. Run as fast as you can, as far as you can, and don't look back.
Mm.
Make sure you survive. And thank God I didn't have to make that decision that night, because that's the night Israel came in physically into Lebanon and established the security zone and set up artillery bases around our town to protect us and keep us alive. And that's how we ended up surviving. And later, I ended up moving to Israel in 1984, working as news anchor for World News. And that's where I met my American war correspondent, got married, and came to the United States. And that's how I ended up in America. By marriage, I came to America in 1989.
Fantastic. And
Wow, that was a long answer. I'm so sorry.
no. No. It was a powerful answer. It was really quite succinct and very moving. And again, I want to say to my listeners, hey, I told you she's powerful, and we've got to share this. We got to get this out to as many Americans as possible. Because sis, I know you know probably better than anybody how some of us here in this country, a good number of us here in this country, and particularly among young people, don't appreciate the United States of America, our stability, our democracy, etc. Or do you disagree with that?
I completely agree with you. I think our youth today have no idea, and we failed them. We failed them because
Yes.
we did not educate them about our history, our constitution, to take pride in who we are and how far we have come. Look, every country makes mistakes. Every country has baggage, just like people. We may be nice now. We may have evolved as people. We may have grown, but we have done things in our life that we're embarrassed of and we wish we could change. My gosh, we all have been teenagers. We all,
Right.
well, every single one of us. I don't care what a saint you are. You have been a teenager at one point. And I'm sure everybody has something they regret doing.
Uh,
But as a nation, we are an amazing nation who overcame so much and became a beacon of a light to the world, spreading justice, bringing freedom, fighting wars for other people on their behalf to give them freedom. Our children are not taught that. Our children not only do not understand history, they don't even understand recent history. Ask them about Pearl Harbor. Ask them where our freedom comes from. They have no idea. And I give you a perfect example. I immigrated to the United States in 1989 by marriage. And then, of course, my husband and I went and filed for me to become an American citizen, etc. When I came to this country, Corbin, and I'm an immigrant, so I am 100% for legal immigration. I paid for my airline tickets to come here. I paid for my visa. When I got here, I paid for my lawyer to do my work, to do it the right way. I went to the doctor and got the blood test. Every blood test I was asked that I'm supposed to take to make sure I'm not bringing leprosy into the country, to make sure I'm not bringing tuberculosis into America. And I gladly obliged and did it because that was a part of the process to become an American. And then when I got my green card, I had to study a 2-inch thick book written by the Daughters of the American Revolution about America's history, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our judicial system. And I had to pass an exam, an oral exam, as well as a written exam in English about all that and pass in order for me to become an American. Corbin, by the time I became an American, I knew more about our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, our history, our judicial system, more than my American-born husband did. Wow. And so I knew more about this country than most Americans knew because I had to study it. And look how far we have come in just 30 years. I'm talking 30 years. This is not like 100 years ago people used to do that. So people like me, when you pay a price to earn something, it's like when you save money to buy a car, when you work so hard, 3 jobs, and you pinch penny because you want to buy a car. When you get that car, you appreciate it, you value it, you wash it, you shine it on the weekend, you make sure nobody puts garbage in it, they don't dent the paint, they don't dirty it, you value it. And so today, we have a totally different type of people in this country who don't value this country, whether they're brats born here and are lazy and expect everything handed to them, and they don't appreciate the freedom that we have, and either or the people who are breaking the law to get here, who do not appreciate America and what it offers. They're using America as a vehicle to make money, send it somewhere outside of America without even bothering to learn English or speak English. And shame on us for failing our future generation by not enforcing assimilation, education, patriotism, and all the good things that made America great.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. Amen. My ex-wife, she's from the Philippines, and never did she bring up coming into the United States illegally. It was just no. And I met so many other people in the Filipino community, and that was their same attitude. No, we're not going to break the law to come into the United States. That was just wrong. Right. And I appreciate you so much in emphasizing that. And sis, you're absolutely right. We have failed them. We have failed our younger generation. But we are not going to compound that failure by not letting people know about this book because they hate. Where can we get this and other books that you have written?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, I lost you there for a second.
Oh, okay. Let me just reiterate what I just wanted. You were so dead on when you said we have failed the younger generation and not properly educating them. We are failing people coming into the United States and want to become citizens if we're not properly educating them. Right. We're not gonna continue that failure. And one way we're not going to continue that failure is we are going to promote books like Because They Hate. Where can we get this and other books written by you?
People can go to our website, actforamerica.org, actforamerica.org. And they'll be able to get my books there, all 3 books. My latest is Rise. And for a donation, instead of getting it on Amazon, you can get it for a donation, tax-deductible donation to Act for America. They also can get it through my direct website, BrigitteGabriel.com, BrigitteGabriel.com, and they get all my books there as well. And yes, we do need to spread the word, and we do need to light a fire under people to say, look, we love America. We live better than anywhere else in the world. Even our poorest of the poor, even our people who are on welfare, have heating and air conditioning, have dishwashers. Heck, they even have cell phones. Yeah, it's mind-boggling to me, especially somebody who grew up in Lebanon. For me, my goodness, having a dryer. Finally we graduated from washing clothes on our hands, and finally having a washing machine at home was like such a big, great thing. And then to get a dryer, it's like a dream. Even now in Lebanon, most people don't even have dryers or dishwashers. Most people don't have dishwashers. We consider this basic necessity in America, and even our people who are on welfare have that luxury. They live luxuriously compared to the rest of the world. We have so much to be thankful for.
Yes. And, sis, I think that, as someone who's done some travel, I've been to the Philippines and Lesotho, South Africa and all, what you say is just dead on. It's just 100%. And I'm laughing, I'm smiling right now because, it's just so you're right. You're accurate. And I guess, maybe we somehow or another should encourage more Americans to travel abroad so they can go see for themselves places like Venezuela and Zimbabwe.
Yep.
So that when they come back, they're no longer going to be talking all this stuff about socialism and all this other kind of nonsense.
Exactly. I'm one of those people who believe in the draft. I think the best way to teach our young generation responsibility is draft them into service. And I'm talking girls and boys, and send them to some third world country where people are living in the slums of let them see how people live in the slums of India or the Philippines, or how people live in the Middle East or different parts of the world, that
Yes.
maybe they have luxurious life in the major cities and the capitals, where people work in the city, but go anywhere outside, go to the corners of these countries and see how people live. And I bet you, Corbin, they will come back to America and they will kiss the ground. They think they have it bad in the United States. Go to other countries and see how they live. And I can tell you, my country of birth, Lebanon, right now is totally controlled by Hezbollah. We went from being Paris of the Middle East, the banking capital of the Middle East in the 60s, to today being a country that is totally bankrupt. The corrupt leaders have stolen the money of the people. The central bank took all the money of every single person's bank account. People who saved their whole lifetime, they are broke. People are fighting each other, killing each other in supermarkets over a cup of milk for their children. And so everybody is broke. There's no electricity. There's barely any water. People are starving. There's no money, and a terrorist organization, Hezbollah, runs the country. This is what happens when you allow the rich few who are in control politically to continue growing in strength and power. And if you think they're going to support you, you are kidding yourself, because they're lining their pockets, and the people who end up paying the price at the end are the people on the ground, the poor people, the average people, the middle class, all of us. That's who I'm talking to. All of us, me, you, and everybody listening to us right now, we end up paying the price. So for those people in our communities, the youth, the Black Lives Matter, who are marching, Antifa, who are marching for socialism, they don't understand that the corrupt politicians are always going to be rich. They're always going to get rich because they're going to lobby. They're going to have associations in different countries in the world. It's people like us, the average people who don't have connections in Switzerland and China, who are not lining our pockets. We're going to be the poor people standing in line for food rationing, waiting for somebody to give us food when socialism comes. God forbid, we'll never allow it to come, not under our watch, not as long as there are people like you and me and every single listener right now, our listeners, your listeners, listening to us right now. We all have a responsibility and a duty as people and as humans who are enlightened, who are saved, who understand the truth. We have a responsibility to make a difference. And if it's not I, then who? If it's not now, then when? And this is my call to everyone listening to us right now. Education is important. It's important for you to be educated about the issues, to listen to the podcast, to learn issues, to learn about books. But education without action is not sufficient. Education must be coupled with action. And that's why I encourage you to go to actforamerica.org and join us. Sign up to get our emails and action alerts. They're free. They don't cost you anything. So you can be an instrument of change. Start a group in your community so you can bring your friends together, so you can take action, sign petitions, send emails to members of Congress. We make it so easy for you. You don't even have to think about it. All you have to do is a click. So go to actforamerica.org and become a voice affecting your community and our nation.
Amen. Actforamerica.org. This is Book Talk with Corbin. I'm your host. We have with us a Brigitte Gabriel, absolutely amazing woman, fantastic story. Actforamerica.org. Go there, get her books, get on her subscription list. Sis, I want to thank you so much for your time. Hopefully we'll be able to have you come on again. Maybe next time talk more about your latest book. You said the title of your latest book is Rise?
Rise in Defense of Judeo-Christian Values and Freedom. The title is Rise, and the subtitle is In Defense of Judeo-Christian Values and Freedom. Because Judeo-Christian values and freedom, Judeo-Christian values are the bedrock of Western civilization. They are the foundation of Western civilization, and they are the foundation of the United States of America. The Judeo-Christian values is where we get, treat others the way you want to be treated. Whether you are a person who have even an atheist or who've never read the Bible, even the lefties among us teach their children, treat others the way you want to be treated. Johnny, be kind, be honest, don't tell a lie. Well, at least this is how we used to teach our children. Now we are moving away from these values. And those of us who adhere to these values, who believe that we should be honest people, we should not kill people, we should honor our mother and father. Those are the values that made America great. And we need to get back to these values.
Amen. Sis, we have to stop the interview here. Hopefully people will go to actforamerica.org and make sure you get her books, get on that subscription list. Sis, thank you so much for being with us. And hopefully we can have you come back again sometime so we can get a little bit more detail about your book, Rise.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor being with you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.